Okay, welcome back to WorkTech. Well, you might have seen the news, but if not, I'm excited to share. You may have an idea. We're joined here by the CEO of Beamery, Abakar Saidov, and he's here to announce and discuss their recent Series C round of venture capital of $138 million. That's a big round, very validating for Beamery and the market. Abakar, welcome.
Thank you so much, George. It's a pleasure to be here, and obviously excited to talk more about the news.
Yeah, I was so excited to hear about the news and see the announcement go out because I wasn't there at the very beginning, but I met you early on. It's like I knew you when, so it's been great to watch the company evolve and the growth that you've experienced. So I'm excited to share that with the market. But let's start about Beamery. Anybody that doesn't know about Beamery or where you fit in the talent market ecosystem, let's start with that introduction.
Absolutely. So when we started Beamery, for us, what was really clear is that there wasn't a single solution, especially in today's complex world of talent that's evolved really over the last 30 or 40 years, a single solution that managed the entire life cycle. So from before somebody applies for a job through to being an employee, employed in different formats, whether it's contractor, gig worker, full-time employee, all the way through to alumni. All there was tons of different systems, different silos of data, and no one way to see everything, touch everything, which created very disjointed experiences, which had been very transactional. So for us, the vision of the company was, can we do better? Can we create something that is a single place, single system of record, in order to manage the whole life cycle, not candidates, not applicants, not employees, but talent, right? And for us, building a horizontal system of talent that touches all those pieces was incredibly important. And the main objective was not to replicate what was already possible to do. We didn't want to replicate application tracking because companies can do that already. We didn't want to replicate employee administration of benefits or payroll because we already can do that. And so what we were trying to solve for is, what can't we do yet? And what we couldn't do is build relationships, be forward-looking, be strategic, think about how acquisition, development, and retention are all impacting each other. And when talking to the C-suite, for us, the big questions being asked were, how can I plan for the next 3 years ahead in terms of what talent I need? And then how can I tie business strategy and talent execution together? So for us, what we built with Beamery is a central talent operating system, one that combines talent attraction, talent retention, talent engagement, and really powers that with data at the core, which has been a really big component of how we built our tools.
Yeah, yeah. It's I know you've had a very impressive, very aggressive product roadmap over the years, and when I talk about that evolution, I hear you talk about this operating system. You've really, I think, entered the market. We look at the recruitment marketing category and CRM, but really what your customers are experiencing now, I can see that operating system aspect. So, congrats on the product evolution. So that's the product side of things, and the company, sort of who you are and what you're doing, and.
Mm-hmm.
Let's segue into this deal. So why now? What are the conditions, whether it's the market and or the company that said, it's time for a Series C, and a substantial Series C, 138 million. That's a lot of, as they say, powder to have to fuel your go to market. So why now?
Sure, that's an excellent question, and I think the why now really, maybe it's worth rewinding a little bit. And what was really interesting to observe over the last 12, 18 months, George, is, and you've clearly seen this as well, what started as a lot of caution and hesitation at the beginning of this global pandemic turned into not only optimism, but a realization that status quo was not enough anymore. And so what we found is, really with our customers, the demand for solving new talent challenges that weren't solved before, and the demand for transforming the talent function increased very substantially. So what we have been seeing with our clients and our prospects is that what 2 years ago seemed optional, and because business as usual was prevailing, is now no longer optional, where talent transformation is in front of the C-suite. CEOs are asking for it. They're asking their HR teams, their talent teams, their people analytics teams on how will we be different? How will we optimize for this new world where, we're almost at infinite employee mobility. We've been talking about globalization for a century, where movement of labor now is kind of infinitely scalable because you can employ people anywhere, and we've now proven that we can do that. So the market is hugely competitive. It's hugely competitive for new hires, for talent development, and for talent retention. So organizations have realized that if talent is going to be a core asset, and actually one of our investors says this, for the last decade, we've been saying that every company has to be a technology company. News companies are now tech companies, manufacturing companies are now tech companies. I truly believe that the penny has dropped, that every company has to be a talent first company now. It's no longer an admin process. It's no longer a back end process of, somebody somewhere does this, maybe we'll outsource it. It is being insourced, it is being invested in, and it is making it to the board level conversation of, if we don't win at this, our company will not win. And you and I have talked about this many times. Technology is an enabler, right? It's an enabler to better processes and better skills. And so we really see the demand not only for the product from our side, but actually for the work to help people through it. The biggest conversation I have with our clients is, we love the product. Can you give us advice? Because what we want to know is how to do things, not just how to use things. And that's a big investment for us as well. We talk about the round. Obviously, we're only at the very beginning of our product journey. We think that there's so much more to build and have an even more ambitious roadmap than in the past, George, for the next 3 or 4 years. But actually, it's about being that trusted partner to our customers. And so we're investing a lot in those resources to make sure that our clients see us as a long-term transformation partner.
Yeah. And I know you're not one to toot your own horn, but I love what you just said about the what's happening in the market around talent and at the board level. I see that. I'm seeing and hearing that as I talk to CHROs and heads of talent acquisition. But your growth through it's surprising, and it's a silver lining during a very dark time around the world. But it's was it 337% growth? Is that the right number?
Yes, quarter on quarter. Yeah, that's right. We're super lucky in that, as they say, overnight success takes years to make. And, we've been doing this for 8 years, and it took a long time to build and a lot of depth to build the product. And I think that it's not only paying off, but it's why we win, why customers choose us, because of the quality of what we've been building for the best part of a decade.
Yeah. And I think for the customers out there, for the heads of talent who see this, the CHROs, something really that I key in on is, you said, we're still at the beginning of our journey, or our product journey. And, this is a big milestone. And I always use the word validation. It is huge validation for where you are. But it comes with expectations, and it comes with, investment comes with, there's an investment to take you to the next level. So that's a real differentiator in this climate where there's so much money coming in. I see a lot of celebration as if it's the end of the journey. A lot of these fundraisers that I see, every day, there are multiple announcements on some days. So good on you for having that resolve. I think your investors are really interesting too, and it supports that, right? I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. The Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Fund Board. Sorry, Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Board, and that does not sound like a growth venture capital risk-taking, kind of wheeling, dealing, swashbuckling investor group. That's a pension fund. That seems like they've got a long tail view to this market and to you as a business. So tell us about them and how, what they mean to Beamery's future.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for asking, George. I think what I'll start with is investors is something that we've always made sure we're very deliberate about. From the very first seed round to Series A, what we were looking for is people that accelerate and amplify the impact we can make, and the speed at which we can make it, because we've always been building a very impact focused company, and what I mean by that is the reason Sultan, Mike, and I started Beamery is not to just build great software out of Europe. It was actually because we wanted to make a difference on the birthplace lottery, where you're born has the biggest impact to your earning potential, to your livelihood. And we do that through access to work, access to education, and access to healthcare. And so for us, the working with Ontario teachers has actually been pretty incredible, because it is a organization that is very aligned to our long-term vision. It is a firm, and had the pleasure of getting to know Olivia and Maggie, who run the firm in the US and Europe. And they have 10, 15-year time horizons, not 3 to 5 year time horizons. They believe in what we're doing very strongly, and their ethos and their way of working really aligns with what we want to build. And it's not just building great technology and creating some liquidity event for investors. It's building a meaningful company that makes an impact on the kind of proverbial universe.
Yeah, and a customer entered you had all of your existing investors, which is always a good sign, including Workday in the industry, but Accenture came in on this round through their fund.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something else I've been a really big believer in, is building well-aligned partnerships, whether it's with Workday or M12 with Microsoft, or with Accenture as well, is because it is much stronger as a message to the market, especially through a partner, because Accenture for us is not just a customer, it's also a partner. If the partner is actually very invested, literally and metaphorically into your business, and so that's how we think about it in general. Is if the partner has multiple pieces of skin in the game, it becomes a much more impactful relationship. And so we've been very fortunate that the team at Accenture, including Tom Linibus, who's obviously led the deal there, believe that this was part of their, and we strongly agree with them, part of the broader future of work strategy, and part of the way that their Spotlight program has been initiated.
Yeah, that's great. And so, all right, so we've got a market that is moving in a direction, committed to talent at the board level and as a strategy, as a business, a real business strategy. We've got high growth, and your metrics in your business, just your taking off, have been for a while. You've got a patient source of capital and a customer, coming to the table, joining the investors. Now, what are you going to do with all this money? So what's the plan for the funding?
The plan has been in the works for a long time, and I would say, if you were obviously here at Beamery this entire time, you'd know that we're long-term thinkers. And so we've had our 3, 5, 8 year strategy seemingly fairly clear. And I remember that having a conversation with one of my mentors from the early days, and he says that you always have to have your North Star, and you always have to be driving towards those North Stars. And then when you zoom out 10,000 feet, it looks like a straight line, but when you zoom in to ground level, you're zigzagging all the time. And so for me, the North Stars for us, we have 4 as a business, and we align all of our strategy and all of our actions and priorities around those. Those are building a winning team, because without a winning team, you can't do anything. For me, first and foremost, we want to create a rubber stamp organization, which is enduring. It means it's an organization that is there 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now that does not need me, Sultan, Mike, or others, is that it's a company that is self-sustaining and is able to continue hiring great talent and developing great talent. And so really investing into that, we are in HR technology because this is something we deeply care about. And the second is creating a category defining product. And we talked about the talent operating system. I think we're still in the early days of that category being well established. And so that's something for us. There's a lot more product to build. The third area is making our customers successful. And that's why are we all doing this, is because we're trying to make this impact within our clients. And that means that as much market presence is important. And so for us, it's not really gunning for profitability, it's gunning for impact, and can we reach an audience as large as possible. So we're investing in our existing European and US teams. We're now looking at global expansion into APAC as well. And so that's very much in the cards in the near term.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Those are the main goals. And obviously, if we achieve all three of those, then we can grow the business, grow revenue, and make great outcomes for everyone.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Having aligning the plans for the funding with the plans for the business, the goals for the that's a good way to approach this. What can customers expect? Or will there be much of a change for customers? What would you tell a customer based on announcing this ramp?
What I'm telling our customers, George, is that this allows us to move faster and meet their objectives quicker, to support them better. What is really exciting to me about our clients is that they're never afraid to tell us what they need. They're never afraid to tell us where we should be. And I think what's really exciting for me is to be able to have more resources dedicated to be able to build the dreams they have. And I think that's the privilege of doing that. The other piece is maturing as a global organization. And I mentioned the investment in the transformation focus and the consulting focus. I think that's we have always prided ourselves on being able to support the largest clients and do so well, and do so 24/7. And so I would say we will be unfaltering and unwavering in that mission, just being able to do that at larger scale with more clients. And I think it's going to be a long journey, and we're excited about it.
That's great. It's very consistent. Every one of your answers today align with your strategy, your long view to the market, to where Beamery's going. I certainly appreciate that, and it's also consistent with every interaction that I've had with you. So is there anything coming up that the market should know of, product related, market related, for Beamery? What's next for Beamery, whether it's related to the funding or not? Anything that, what's next for Beamery that we should know about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of our tenets culturally is we like to kind of say what we do and do what we say. And so we tend to not pre-announce too much or release anything that's vaporware. I think what we have spent a long time working on over the last 2 years is a few things. So we mentioned that the operating system category, we see it as really three core buckets. It's the data layer, the experience layer, and the intelligence layer. And what our clients will see from us is a lot more functionality and a lot more development into the all three of those. So for example, on the data side, it's a lot more integrations, much more robust enrichment, even though we're already market leading. A lot of focus on the creation of that single system of record, not just across HR and application data, but also learning management systems, VMS systems. We're creating a lot more integration partners into our platform play. So for us, it's that app store approach of becoming that single source of truth. On the application side, it's all about talent portals and mobility. We've been, I guess, reinventing, so to speak, the way that organizations think about talent mobility and that experience from pre-apply to employee to post-employee alumni, and it should be singular, and it should be very, very anchored around skills and skill inference. So we've been building a lot of technology around talent graph and being able to infer skills and trajectories and really overlap the human trajectory over time with the business demand over time, because people are not widgets that fit into jobs. People change, businesses change. And so for us, we've invested a lot into that AI technology and our own talent graph. And then the last piece is really around planning and forecasting. So the question I ask CHROs all the time is, what's your $20 million problem? And the answer is almost always, can you help me plan my business for the next 3 years and tell me what skills my people have and what skills are touching my business? And they're not saying what skills do my applicants have or my employees, it's everyone. Who is in my business and how do I get them from A to B and what will I need in timeframe C? And so a lot more is coming and solving these problems, which I think are very unsolved.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can say that I'm seeing, you mentioned integration and, looking at the, ecosystem of, VMSs and learning systems, et cetera. That integration component is really foundational now. It really is the key to being able to deliver on this. I think your operating system vision, but the what customers look at as internal mobility to connecting those dots, and the back to one of your original points around the timing in the market and the $20 million problem that you just brought up. It's I think there's been a lot of talk since 2019 about internal mobility. But I think at this point, this is where I'm actually hearing and seeing employers trying to truly solve for it. There have been press releases, announcements from employers who have invested in reskilling or upskilling. And it's been, small bets placed on that approach. And I think it's good timing for you to be leading the market in that way. I look forward to watching that. So, well, we could go on and on about this market, and Beamery, I want to congratulate you again on the round. Great validation. Thank you for taking time out of what is a busy day, I'm sure, and busy time. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, George. Always a pleasure.
All right.